Why, hello there, folks, and welcome to another round of Modern. It's Dylan from Altering Universes, and on the left we have Georgia Fellas playing the Blue-Red Murktide, and on the right we have Will Lazanak, a.k.a. The Boy, playing Rakdos Scam. I feel like I've had Scam on every week that I've done Modern lately, and I don't know if that's because we just have, like, a disproportionate number of players who play Scam at the shop right now, or if it's just because I keep picking... Or it's the Scam players keep doing well, and they just keep ending up at the tables that I pick. Speaking of Scam, we're going to be doing the Scam thing. We've got Will evoking a grief here. Exiling, ooh, that's a battle from the new set. And then we're going to Undying Malice. Going to take another card. George's hand, not the strongest to pick apart right now. This is, like, not what you want to see. 2 lands, Counterspell, Dress Down, and then 2 copies to consider. Takes EI and Counterspell. Makes sense to me. George will be able to kind of rebuild his hand a little bit, though, with the Consider. Going to get some card selection out of this. Let's take a little peeksy doodle. There's such a conflicting commentary for me, because I love Murktide. I love Izzet decks in general. Their play patterns are my favorite play patterns in any format. Ooh, we found a Dragon's Rage Strand. We're going to play that Flooded Strand that Will knew about. And I don't respect Rakdos Scam. The deck, I've talked about it before, probably at length, but the deck does 1 to 2 really powerful things, and when the deck doesn't do them, the deck doesn't do anything. It's just like a bad mid-range deck. When it does the thing, the deck looks crazy, and I can't even argue there, right? Like, if you do what Alex Feargang did on camera last week, was it last week? I think it was last week. You just, like, beat the tar out of your opponent in 5 minutes for the match, then, yeah. You know, there's just nothing. The deck looks crazy. But sometimes you mulligan to 4 multiple games in a row, and you're like, wow, this sucks. Why do I not have Expressive Iteration? Though, this deck would not be a good Expressive Iteration deck. I think it gets, if I remember correctly, in one of these games... Will has a Doth in the board and cracks it to cast Expressive Iteration. And his, like, 3 cards are, like, not great cards to get off of an Expressive Iteration. Ooh. I need a new deck to pop up that I can have probably wrong opinions on. But that's the beauty of opinions. They're okay, as long as they're not controversial. Or, you know, just unacceptable. Will has 3 Blackcleave Cliffs in play. My man went Blackcleave, Blackcleave, Blackcleave into a Seasoned Pyromancer. George has 3 cards in hand. Did he take the dress down? No, we know he still has the dress up. Right? George has different basic arts. George, no. George, why do you have different basic arts? I have an Unholy Heat here. Plays a Misty Rainforest as his land for turn. This was George's, I believe, first time on camera. Said he was pretty excited about it. I'm pretty excited to have George on camera. Am I talking to the wrong portion of the microphone again? Hello. Sorry. All right. Folks, we had an interesting conversation at the end of our weekly Modern tournament on Monday. And I want to extend it to you. I want to know your thoughts, opinions, and words. If a card is banned in both Legacy and Pioneer, do you think it should be banned in Modern? Alternatively, if you think a card is banned in Legacy, should it also be banned in Modern? One of our regulars, Ralph Sposato, made an indication that he believes that Ragavan, because it is banned in Legacy, should therefore be banned in Modern. Because if it's banned in the more powerful format, why wouldn't it be banned in the less powerful, or in a lesser powered format? I think there's a lot of interesting qualifications to that conversation, right? Because, like, if you look at, like, Red and 6. Red and 6 is banned in Legacy for a couple different reasons. But primarily it's because of the Wasteland thing. And Delver used that card a little too well. Ragavan was used by Delver a little too well. And, honestly, I played a lot of Delver with Ragavan. And I've played a lot of Delver without Ragavan. And I've played a lot of Ragavan in Modern. The card almost feels completely different. Ooh, that's a pretty interesting. So we got Ragavan attacking in, blocked by Seasoned Pyromancer. Will going to cast Undying Malice to try and bring it back to loot and draw two cards, and then George just has the counterspell. There's a Ledger Shredder there. I'm curious as to why he didn't run out the Ledger Shredder before going to combat. In the off chance that like you'd have to play the counterspell this turn. But all right, Murktide Regent coming out here. I've never seen a Murktide player tap 2 mana and grab their graveyard for any other reason. Yep, Murktide. Going to be an 8/8. Will at 10 life here. And Will draw on his card, realizing he cannot out the Murktide, and he'll just scoop it up. Jordan's going to take game 1. And we are going to move on to game 2 right now. There's a Blackcleave Cliff. God, he is so good at drawing that card. Into Ragavan. The full art Blackcleave is gorgeous also. Like, just saying. Like, that art is beautiful. And I really hope that the enemy cycle is getting reprinted soon. Like, in the next, like, set or two. Because I would do unspeakable things for full art Spire Bluff Canals. I need my Murktide deck that I never actually play anymore to look as pretty as possible. I just purchased 4 of the Unholy Heats off TCG Player. They're, like, full art ones from the RCQs. Gorgeous. Speaking of RCQs, if you were at our Pioneer one that we had at Alternate Universe of Bluebell last weekend, so Saturday, May 7th? I don't know dates anymore. I'm also the guy who like mentally erased the month of May from my brain accidentally. Whole thing. If you were at the RCQ, thank you. There's 68 players, and that was freaking awesome. So it was our biggest Pioneer one yet. And it was just a blast seeing everybody, seeing all the decks that people were playing. I wasn't able to get content because I wasn't able to stay the whole day. But for sure, thank you so much to everybody who showed up. That was amazing. And it was like a pretty high-level competition, too, which like looks pretty sweet. All right, both players just going to trade Ragamans back with each other. At least that's the plan. Will does take damage. Reveals what looks like a Takenuma to me. I mean, you can't really see it. It could very well not be Takenuma, and I could just be talking out of my ass. Alright, Mishra's Bauble. Has a little Mishra's Bauble trigger thing. I did talk to George about this at the end of the night. I don't actually think you're allowed to do that, but it's a local. It's all in fun, so not actually a serious thing. Not as unhinged as was it Will who wrote Trigger on his hand? Somebody wrote Bauble Trigger on their hand. And that was pretty good. That was silly. And we appreciate silly here. Ragavan, ooh. Or no, sorry. Casting Expressive Radiation. Oh yeah, no, Ragavan revealed Expressive and then we're casting it. Okay. I knew Expressive got cast at some point in time. Maybe multiple times. Who knows? Now, if you are jonesing to play another RCQ, and you were at our last one, or you weren't, and then you're just like super excited to go, we're having a Pioneer RCQ at our Wilmington location this Saturday. That is Saturday, May 13th. Cool. Yeah, May 13th, the day before Mother's Day. So you don't have to worry about ignoring your mother to go do this event. You can go to this event, win this event, and then tell your mom about it at lunch. That's... Again, Saturday, May 13th at Alter University of Wilmington. Pioneer. Reg at 11. Play should begin at noon. Going to be an absolute great time. I'm going to say that I won't be there, but I also do get kidnapped for these things randomly. So who knows? I might be there. I don't own a Pioneer deck still, but... There's a Bauble. Here comes the bubble trigger. Yeah. Both Ragamans just kind of staring at each other. They're doing their thing. It's funny. The Rakdos Skim deck has a more powerful 1-2 punch, but I feel like Murktide just has a more powerful lineup of cards between the counter magic, the draw selection. Both decks, I think, play. Does Scam play Unholy Heat, or is it just Bolt and Push? I guess it's just Bolt and Push, right? There's no. You can't really get Delirium. There's no real sorceries in the deck. You don't play Bauble. I wonder. All right. Ooh, white bouncing. Little. Just replaced the light bulb in the lamp. If you noticed, actually, in the last couple weeks of videos, the lamp was flickering ever so slightly. So, went out. We got a new light bulb. Much brighter now. Plus, it was still sunny during this round. The beauty of the days getting longer. With players with 5 mana in play. Oh no, George's treasure's gone. Will with 5 mana in play. George with 4. Season Pyromancer coming down, discarding 2 cards, making a 1 singular elemental token. Oh well, Scam probably with Fable the Mirror Breaker, right? I feel like that would be a missed opportunity to not have Fable in that list, or is the list just so tight with all the shenanery that you're trying to do? I don't know, man. Copying that stuff sounds pretty good. Where's Rakdos mid-range? Yeah, okay. 2 copies of Fable the Mirror Breaker. No sorcery. Thoughtseize is a sorcery. You could theoretically get Delirium. But this list does not play Unholy Heat. Does play 3 copies of Terminate. That makes more sense. Just insert actual kill spell at all times. Remember when Dreadbore was like going around? People were playing Dreadbore. And Dreadbore was like $7 rare. It might still be a $7 rare. I don't know if the cards he's playing Pioneer still.
I will play a small Murktide Regents. 3/3.
Okay, still like a $4 rare. The secret rare one's like $10. Cards that I forget that exist. Let me tell you, as a shopkeep, there are so many different secret lair cards. There's a Fury getting invoked on a Murktide here. There are so many different secret lair cards that it is hard to keep up with. Going to try an Undying Malice here. George is going to fetch and play Force of Negation, exiling and countering that Undying Malice. Unfortunately, cannot stop the Fury. Force is that force is pretty balanced compared to Force of Will.
Force of Negation. You're there? 8.
Right, jamming in for 3 points of damage here. 4 points of damage? How big is Season Pyromancer? I think it's a 2-3, right? 2-2? Pretty sure Season Pyromancer has 2 power. It went from 11 to 8, so unless I got life totals wrong, which admittedly is possible. texting Owen about Star Wars Jedi Survivor. We've both been playing through the game in our very limited free time. He sent me a text. He goes, the game's crashed like 3 times this morning. I'm over this. And I was like, no. And he goes, it crashed when I opened the the map. And I was like, that was your mistake. How dare you want navigation assistance in that asinine open world game? Folks, if you're playing the game, no spoilers down below, because I will cry. Literal tears, because I read each and every one of your comments. And the thing that'll hurt me the most would be spoiling Star Wars content. How do you like the game? Are you playing it? If you're playing it, how do you like the game? That's not Magic related, but let's talk about some other... Let's talk about... We can have other things between us besides Magic, the Gathering. Ooh, 4 mana. Hard casting Grief. Gonna take a little peeksy doodle of that hand. Dress down, getting flash in response. Makes sense. Doesn't get to take a card. Gets to filter.
Block, take 4.
Will only has 1 Black Leaf Cliffs this game. George gonna scoop it up, realizing he cannot deal with Will's card advantage here. It is not 1-4. It is 1-1. We're going to be going into game 3 in just a second here. Boom, a second has passed. Look at that.
Bleeding value. Go ahead.
We're going Spire Bluff, get down to a Ragavan. Will's going Mountain into Ragavan. Good draw. Do we have the removal spell for Will's Ragavan? We have a consider. I'm going to take a peeksy doodle. Going to consider our options. The card has been out for like 2 years now. A joke. Still feels great to make. I know everybody hates it, but I love it. My lungs hate it too, apparently. Jesus Christ. So, we drew our card. We attacked with Ragavan. They traded. We played a new Ragavan. All in all, not bad. Thoughtseize here. Will go into 18, taking Dress Down from George. Pass on the turn. Going to crack in with Ragavan. Will going to 16, revealing an unlicensed Hearse. That's a pretty good card to hit here, actually. Delta as a land for turn. Going to fetch. Probably just getting an island. Yep, gets an island. Plays out the unlicensed Hearse. What a weird thing to think about. An unlicensed Hearse. Probably some connection to mob boss or like mafia stories at some point in time. Alright, Will. Shocking in a Blood Crypt. Plays the Cleave board wipe spell. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know the name of that card. I can tell you it's from Crimson Vow. And I can tell you it has Cleave on it. And that it kills creatures. I have no further context. Alright, 3 mana here. Fable the Mirrorbreaker. That card we just talked about a little bit ago. Gonna make a 2/2 Goblin Shaman token. George, there's another basic art in there. It has to be intentional at this point. I understand what's a bit like. Hell, I have been like, oh, I can't find my other copies of insert island art here. I guess I'll just use these until I find them, and I'll have like 2 copies of one and 1 copy of another, and I feel gross. But the people who are like, I'm going to use 3 different types of basics, I both respect and fear you. Doing our delirium check. We do, in fact, have delirium. There's land, creature, instant enchantment. Fable, going to chapter 2 here. Going to discard up to 2 cards and draw that many. Look good. Yep, we dropped 2 cards, drew 2 cards. Do you know that Fable, the Mirror Breaker, is a really good card? I think I talk about that every time we talk about Scam. And I think I make that same joke where I'm like, I think we talk about this every time. Just ad nauseum. It's a loop. But it really is just such a good card. I've been playing Standard recently on Arena. I don't know how I got sucked back into it. And it was before the announcement about them extending the rotation. But I've been playing like Grixis midrange, and that deck uses Fable the Mirror Breaker to copy stuff like Corpse Appraiser. I was like, man, this card's really fucking good. I've only ever really used it in Indomitable Creativity. But playing it in like a lesser power format, I was like, wow, this really does feel like a modern card. This card is great. That Grixis midrange deck, by the way, super fun. If you like midrangey stuff. I kind of want to like see if it ports well into Pioneer. I feel like it won't, and I'll be sad about it, but I hope it does. I don't even think you get that much better mana. You get the shocks, right? You don't have to play a million triumphs. All right, Ledger Shredder coming out here. The bird is the word. Fable's flipping over. This is a big hearse. This is a 5/5 hearse. All right, bolts the bird. The bird will go to the Dolthy pile. I still feel like the Dolthy pile is the interjection I've had to make the most since Modern Horizons 2 has come out to remind players that, you know, they need to go to the pile. And I think the most answered Judge question I've had since MH2 is still the Blood Moon versus Urza Saga thing, and having to explain how sagas work with chapters and shit. Unholy Heat, killing the Fable here. George said, you got so much incremental value, you're not allowed to have more. Please no thank you, sir. Leave me alone. Let's look at it for 5 points of damage here. George, gotta go to 9. I feel like I was either answering a judge call at this point or distracted by Mark Mara. Hardcast Fury. Eating 2 cards from the yard. Iteration. Spire Bluff can now Ragavan other card. Ragman hitting the board. That card is definitely chump blocking a Fury.
I'm gonna eat these 2 cards from my graveyard.
Activates Hearth, targeting his own stuff. What if he kept Delirium? Or I wonder if that, like, messed with his Delirium count. Unholy Heat, shooting down the Shaman.
Bum, bum, bum. Your turn?
Gonna fetch here. Going down to 8. It's so weird seeing battles in the decks now because they're sideways. Will picked up his deck and the battle was on the bottom. A genuine shot of concern for a second. I was like, what the fuck is that? An actual card type, Dylan. An actual card type.
Because you wouldn't be on the watch already. Okay. You didn't say go to combat, so. You have plenty of cards to choose. Sure.
Is this the largest unlicensed race we've ever had on camera? Have we had one bigger than 9 yet? I don't think so, right? I think this is like the cream of the crop. The number 1.
Let's go. Pitch a card. You can get it back!
Alright, Grief. 2 cards. Unlicensed race of Will Zone. Proves the hearse, attacks in for 9. Well, blocking with Grief as it's the only way. He can't do anything.
Get out of there.
Activating his unlicensed hearse, taking 2 cards for Jordan's Yard.
Brick.
Hardcast, play another Grief. Spell Pierce getting discarded here. Bauble getting played.
Swing.
Crewing, attacking for 9. Grief crews the hearse jumps in front. Gotta eat 2 more cards from the yard first. Eating more card types just to make sure that George can't get to a Delirium. Where it's more difficult for George to get to Delirium is what we should say. Bobble. Gonna draw a card. Alright. Kill spell. Gets rid of Ragavan. I think it kills stuff 3 CMC less. There's a Dothy Voidwalker. Will just gotta hope that George doesn't top deck a creature that has real power. And George, unfortunately, only has 3 types for Delirium here, so that Dragon 3 Channeler that he just picked up will not be able to crew the Unlicensed Hearse.
1, 2, 3.
Because of that,
Turn on my Dragon's Rage channeler.
that will be the game. Actually, it was a really good game. Will going to take it in game 3 with Rakdos game over Georgia Fellas' Blue-Red Murktide. Thank you for watching, folks, and have a great rest of your day.